released 2 new kits this week, and I like them both, but they don't really fit together all that well. I don't think they're meant to, but it is kind of funny how we got a basement kit and then a greenhouse kit at the same time. The greenhouse kit is full of plants and like these big, beautiful open windows, and then the basement kit is full of like old garbage furniture, so these two things are very opposite. And I think today I want to try to build a house using both of them. I think we could try to make like grandma's house. She's got a greenhouse in the back, but a super cluttered like storage basement. She might have some older furniture kind of around the place. And most importantly, she probably has a screened-in porch, which I really want to do using the new windows. So with that being said, let's pop into the game and start building. So with this house, I wanted to use just the base game and the 2 new kits. I like to do this when new packs come out, where I like really try to focus on using just the new pack items. I feel like doing this helps me really learn the items and think of ways to use them that maybe aren't the intended purpose. So for example, that greenhouse kit has a bunch of fun clutter. There's like these little spray bottles that are kind of meant to be for gardening, but you could probably use them like cleaning spray bottles and put them in a laundry room or put them in the kitchen. There's some shelves you can try and find new purposes for. The basement kit has all kinds of clutter, like old boxes and stuff that we could try to use all over the place. There's even new wallpaper in both these kits that I wanted to try and use because I feel like we have these new items. I really want to put them to the test in like every way possible. This house is also really not very big. I mean, the greenhouse is like half the size of the full main building, but my main focus on this was like less the interior and more like the greenhouse, the backyard, and the basement. To be honest, I was really excited to try and use all of those things in those ways. The main house is just 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. It's got a kitchen, a living room, and also a little screened-in porch. I was really thinking about my own grandmother and her house with that porch because my grandma and I always play a lot of cards together. So I put like a card table on the porch out there. There's like a bonsai tree for some gardening, stuff like that. I also really badly wanted to have a basement, but I wasn't sure where to put the staircase. That was kind of a struggle for me. I also didn't know if I wanted to have the staircase be like open to the upstairs because my grandma's house, she has basically like a stair railing around the basement staircase and it is just open. There isn't like a door to it or anything. But my other grandma's old house used to have the basement staircase behind a door. So I've seen both. I don't live in a house that has a basement. I'm from Florida. We don't have basements just at all anywhere here. So I'm kind of out of my element with this one. I'm just guessing. I wasn't really sure like how best to do it. If you have a basement, how is the staircase? Like, where is it? What does it look like? Is it, you know, please let me know. I need to learn how people's basement stairs are. I have 2 examples and that's it. And that's all I'm going off of. Basements are kind of a funny one to me because I just don't think about them like ever. I never put basements in my Sims houses. I think for 2 reasons. Number 1, we didn't have basements when the game first came out. I know it's been years, like literal years. We've had basements for years now, but I just got in the habit of never using basements. And so I mean, I just don't, even now that we have them. But also I think the fact that I'm from a place where we just don't have basements, I don't do it. I just don't think about it. It's not a thing that crosses my mind. I never put them in builds. I'm wondering if now that we have the basement kit, I'll use them more often. But to be honest, I don't really think I will. Like, I'm excited about the basement kit because I do like the furniture in it, but I don't think I'm gonna use that stuff for basements. I tend to build a lot of attics in my Sims houses because I do some like kind of funky roofs that have a lot of like open space and rooms in the roof. So all of that basement kit stuff, like all the storage, the random old furniture, to me, that's like attic stuff. Like, I'm gonna put that in my Sims attics. I probably won't put basements. Obviously, sometimes I've got houses that have basements, but it's not really like an everyday thing for me. Now that we have the greenhouse kit though, I think that greenhouses might become a more common occurrence for me. I've done a couple builds now with the greenhouse kit and I'm really liking it. I just think it's so fun to have like dedicated plant spaces, and I've been trying to think of other ways to use these new greenhouse kit windows. So you'll see in this house, I've got the actual greenhouse in the back, but then attached to the house, I've got a screened-in porch. Screened-in porches are so common where I'm from. Like, pretty much everybody has a screened-in porch. When I say a screened-in porch, what I'm talking about is they have like basically walls around the porch, but instead of them being like full solid walls with glass windows and stuff, there's just a screen. It's like mesh, kind of like a net material maybe, if that makes any sense to you, but it's like really fine. So that way, like, you know, the wind can come through, sunlight comes through, obviously rain comes through, but bugs and stuff won't get through. Those screens are so common. I mean, like literally everywhere has screens. In fact, Florida likes screens so much that sometimes they'll put like big giant cages of pool screen around their pools in their backyards. This house has like a more normal screened in porch because it's just like attached to the building. It's got a roof, but a lot of houses in Florida have big giant nets lights around their pools, essentially. This is what I'm talking about. This is not glass. This is not like a solid material. You can kind of tell based on like the lighting up here. This is just a screen, but they build these out over like an entire pool. So that is very common where I'm from and something that I am very familiar with. So it's kind of fun to have these screens now to like mess around with. I actually just built a house this morning that I called a Florida house, heavily inspired by my nightmarish home state. And I did one of those giant big pool screens. It was kind of fun. They're super ugly. I mean, they're just absolutely disgusting. I do not like how they look, but they serve a nice practical purpose. This pool screen business is extremely confusing to a lot of people that aren't from around here and haven't seen it. Everybody in my Twitch chat was like, I don't get it. Why are you putting an umbrella in there over the lounge chairs if it's got a roof? But it doesn't, it's not roofed, it's mesh. Like rain still comes through, the sun is still like shining down on you. Some people also thought that they were like air conditioned, but they're fully outside. It's literally just like mesh walls around the patio. So it's hot. There's not like AC, it's outdoors basically. There's not even shade. I mean, it's just mesh. It's like to keep bugs out and so leaves don't fall in the pool. But it's kind of a weird concept if you're not familiar with it. I, however, am very excited to have these mesh windows in The Sims now. Kind of back to the actual build though for a second. You can see I'm working on the layout of the backyard, and I really did struggle with this house because specifically I wanted to use a lot of the new stuff. Like I wanted to use that new paneled wallpaper, and I don't really like how it looks, to be honest. It's not my favorite. I would probably use literally any other wallpaper instead of that one, but I was so focused on like really wanting to try and use the new one that I tried to make it work here. I also in the backyard was having a hard time with like the layout of the landscaping, so I kind of just moved on and went straight down to the basement. I was like, you know what? This is stressing me out. Let's go decorate the basement instead. The basement was kind of hard because it's really, really small. I could have made it bigger, but I kind of liked the idea of a tiny basement in this tiny house. Although potentially in real life, the basement might be like a carbon copy of the upstairs. My grandparents' house is kind of like that. They've got like a little ranch house and the basement is like kind of almost the same size as the main floor upstairs. They also have their living room in the basement too. Like they don't ever sit upstairs and watch TV upstairs. They only have a TV in the basement. And so this is kind of me channeling my grandma. Although my grandma's basement is much cleaner than this. They do have a storage room, but the whole place doesn't look like this. In this house, the whole basement looks like this. But I used like the old TV, we've got the old couch and everything. So I kind of liked the idea of like an old little hangout space. At my other grandparents' house, they had like a couch and a TV in the basement too. And they had a super old GameCube. It was like one of those old big like square TVs, you know? And they had a GameCube down there and we used to play Mario Kart with my cousins constantly in my grandparents' basement. So I have fond basement memories. I was kind of trying to channel that in this room, just maybe with some extra clutter than I would normally include. I probably wouldn't normally put this much, but I was just excited because it was my first basement with a new kit, so I was going all out. I was using the stuff everywhere. I kind of have like a little corner with a bunch of stuff shoved back in it, and so that corner is kind of the storage space, and there's barely enough walking space for your Sims to get down here, but it does still function. They can technically still use it. It's just, it's kind of a tight squeeze to get down there. Oh, hold on, that's one thing that I didn't put down. Out of all of the basement kit items, I think my favorites are probably that little painting. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's like a little photo frame from the basement kit, and it's got these different swatches that are different photos of in-game Sims. So there's like a wedding photo of Bob and Eliza pancakes. There's a childhood photo of the Roomies household. That's kind of a cute little fun detail, so I put a couple of those in here. There's also like some kind of gross wall and floor stains, and I use those down here. There's one that looks kind of like scratches in the floor, and I put that underneath the couch, almost like the couch being scooted had scratched the hardwood. It's really fun to get more little details like that. Things like, oh, there's water damage behind the sink, and oh, you know, there's scratches underneath the furniture where it's been pushed around a lot over the years. It's really nice to get those kind of cute little bits. And if there's one thing this basement kit loves, it is dirty, disgusting scratches. I mean, all that furniture is so messed up. It is so scary. I was talking to one of the sim gurus who worked on this kit, and he described it as approachable garbage, which really made me laugh. The coffee table with the stains everywhere and like the canes all broken. Yeah, approachable garbage. I think that's the best way to describe the style of this furniture. The upstairs isn't nearly as, you know, gross as the basement. I would call the upstairs a little bit more approachable, dare I say. So I started furnishing the little screened-in porch first because I was most excited about that. These are all the new things, right? You can tell I started with the greenhouse, the basement, and then the porch. The 3 things I was most excited to try. And then I was like doing the bathroom last, you know? I don't care about the bathroom. I came here for basements. All I care about is the basement. But I was kind of trying to make this porch similar to how my porch is in real life. In my house, we have a sliding door into the porch, but it's very much like this, how the porch is screened in, but it's got a full ceiling and it shares a wall with the house. I wanted to use the new door instead, so I used the new glass door from the pack, but in real life, I think you'd probably see a lot of sliding glass doors into a porch like this. Let me know what your house is like. Do you have sliding glass doors too? The houses in Florida, around where I live, we got sliding glass doors everywhere. They love those things. They're all over the place. That's one of my favorite parts about building houses in The Sims and like chatting to people while we do it, you know, with these comments and also with my like live streams on Twitch. It's really fun to get to talk to people about what is normal where they're from and like what's weird and what people usually have. So like I mentioned, we've been talking a lot about screens recently because some places just, they're not common there. So they're kind of weird for people. Ceiling fans also come up a lot because a lot of people don't have ceiling fans where they live and they're just not common. But again, I live in Florida, so ceiling fans all over the place. It is hot. It's nice to have a fan on the ceiling. The other one is laundry. We end up talking about laundry a lot and like the location of the washing machine because in some places it's super common to have in the kitchen. Some places put it in the garage. Like a lot of houses here have them in the garage. Sometimes it's in the bathroom. I mean, it kind of just depends where you are and like what style house you live in and stuff. But it's really interesting to chat with people about like, you know, what seems odd because I might do something in a build that is like so normal to me, but it might seem like really weird to you because where you're from, they don't do that at all. So let me know. Anything weird in this build that seems very abnormal for you based on your real life house? Anyway, we're kind of furnishing the main living area right now, and this space is actually really small. It has a quite nice sized kitchen though. The kitchen is pretty big, and then it's got a nice living area and a little small dining section. The kitchen definitely does not need to be this big, but it's kind of nice to have a big fancy kitchen, so I use that in here. I also thought it fit pretty well back there in that corner, and then of course there's 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom in this house. I didn't put a TV upstairs like I mentioned, so the only one is downstairs, but I did put a computer in the bedroom upstairs because I always try to put computers in my Sims houses. I feel like it's so hard to play this game without a computer. Like your Sims just need computers for so many things. I mean, even down to like ordering stuff online, like doing programming, writing, like video games, all that stuff. It's so nice to have a computer, so I made sure I had one up here. Honestly, dare I say, I think a computer is more useful than a TV in this game. The TV is nice because more than one Sim can watch it at once to get their fun up, but like having a computer, it's good for skill building. You can play video games for fun. Like there's just, it's so much more multifunctional, you know? I don't know why I build houses like this though, to be honest. This one is too small for it to serve any functional gameplay purpose for me. I always play with families, so there is like no reason for me to have a 1-bedroom house like this. I don't know where my Sims are gonna go. This is like totally useless to me. It is kind of fun though. It's fun to build like and tell the story out of. I don't need to play in all of my builds. I mean, I build so much. I don't play in like half of my builds. You know what? I don't play in 2/3 of my builds because I build like way more than I would ever possibly need for a Sim. Unless I have my Sims like move constantly or if I just kept making brand new saves. But I mean, I'll build like multiple houses in a week and then never play in them. And that's the other thing. When I need a new house for my Sims that I'm actually playing with, I won't go back and pick from my old ones. I just make another new one and like make it for them specifically. So I'm not gonna play in this. There's not enough space. It was fun to do though. It's fun to have the basement story. I love the greenhouse. I need to go in and add a greenhouse to my Legacy Challenge Sims household. I don't know why. I don't really need to. I just want to. It sounds like fun. So I think I will. But we're kind of just going through and putting some last minute decor around. I ended up making the color scheme very pink and green. I really like the 2 colors together. And there's a new couch from the kit that's got kind of a cute pink swatch that has like a green blanket rested on it. So I wanted to use that up here. And then I kind of made that like the main color scheme for the rest of the build. And the bedroom has a cute like pink and green floral wallpaper, which I feel like is fitting for Sims that are, you know, gardening. They probably like flowers, right? The bedroom is quite small too though, so I had a hard time with the layout in here. That's like the theme of the build, huh? Just, it's too small, so it was hard to furnish. This room also had some weird lighting. There's this really weird lighting bug, you've probably noticed it, where if you have too many windows in a room, the room gets dark. I don't understand it, it makes me have to put like 3 lights in a room that has like a bunch of windows. This one's got 6 windows. So immediately it was having lighting problems. I hate that. One of my biggest pet peeves is when it's too dark inside my Sims houses. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it's like almost unbearable for me to play in houses that are dark in this game. It's part of why I hate like a lot of the EA base game builds so much, the ones that officially come in the game from the older packs, because for some reason they are so dark. The first thing I do when I play in there is go in and add more lights. But anyway, the build is pretty much done now, so I want to pop into the game and show you a tour of the finished product. There are a couple things that I added that I didn't film. I went in and like planted actual plants in all the planter boxes and stuff. I also put a cow plant. It just wouldn't feel right if there wasn't something deadly in the backyard, you know? I just built this on a random 30 by 20 lot in Newcrest, so if you wanted to place it down, you could probably put it pretty much anywhere. And this is what the finished product looks like from the outside. I'm really happy with the front. I will say, I re-landscaped this 3 times. So I'm sorry that I cut that out of the speed build, but it was embarrassing. I like did it once, went furnished the inside of the house, did it again, left and came back the next day in real life and then redid it again. So here's how we ended up. I think I'm happy with this. The front of the house is very simple. It's very like quaint. Around the back is like the main show-stopping bit, right? Like the main backyard. So you can see we have this little screened-in porch. Attached to it is an outdoor porch. And then we have a huge brick patio. This is like my favorite flooring in the whole game now. I really love this item. I tried to put a bunch of planter boxes around, but these ones out here are fake. They don't have like real garden items in them. There's just like landscaping in them. There's a grill. We have some lounge chairs. I got a little table. Back here in the side yard, we've got some trees growing. So I planted like an apple. There's plantains and cherries. And then most importantly, the greenhouse, my favorite part, I filled this with real plants. So kind of going around the whole building, I put a lot of clutter in here. There's like a hose. We have some decor. I had my sim go in and actually plant stuff. So there's like spinach. We've got basil. There's a couple little clutter tables too. I like how it looks like there's plants, like baby starter plants growing on these shelves. We have some big planter boxes, some more clutter. Over here, like some more table storage. If I wasn't using just the base game, I probably would have put a flower arranging table right here from Seasons. This item is a chest, and believe it or not, your Sims can actually open that and put stuff in it. It works like an inventory essentially, but you could like open this and then store all your extra seeds in there. I am absolutely going to be using this a lot. We have a couple of these. We have like these 2 items as well. These ornate beauty and the buyer beware things are storage chests too. I don't use them all that much, but this one is very simple. This could like fit into a lot of spaces. So if you've got like a bunch of collectibles you want to put somewhere, this is a good place to go. And then inside the house, again, it's really not very big, so this is gonna be quick. But when you first walk in, there's like a little entryway. I put a bookshelf with some clutter on it. We got like a hat and a coat rack. This is the little tiny dining space. This chair, I think, is such an ugly swatch. I don't know what it is. I do not like this swatch at all, but I used it because thought it kind of fit the vibes. Sometimes that's good, you know? Like sometimes it's a good thing if stuff is like a little bit ugly. Over here is the living room. So we have that really cute pink couch I was talking about. Just kind of some cute stuff around the fireplace. This is more of like a talking living room. It's like a formal living room. And then the hangout space is downstairs. We also have a hangout space right here though, because we have this screened-in porch. You can see more up close now the screen material that I'm talking about. But I put a card table. We have this bonsai tree for skill building and like some extra pots. I also love this sun item, so I use that in here too. And then over here is the kitchen. I think I really love the layout of this. I like how big it is, and I like the little peninsula part. I feel like this is very realistic, and I just put, you know, some random kitchen clutter. We've got 1 bedroom. They have a really huge, beautiful mirror, a nice bed. I made sure we had a dresser with some clutter on it, and they have a bathroom over here. Again, nothing too fancy. It's hard to get fancy in a bathroom this small. If it were bigger, we could have had some more decor, but we need like walking space for the Sims, you know? And then downstairs, speaking of walking space, there's not a lot of it, but this is the basement. They've just thrown all of their old furniture in here. Literally everything is down here in the basement. So when you walk down, we have like a postcard collection. We got some paintings on the wall. This bookshelf has some storage in it. We've got like some old art pieces. Your Sims can come through here and sit on the couch and watch this TV. And this TV is very messy. Like it kind of animates funny, like it looks like an old TV. Same thing, these 2 lamps both flicker a little bit. I was kind of trying to keep this as an ode to the old Sims games. So like these little trophies, these are lights that you got if you owned the Sims 3 packs. So I put one of them in here kind of as like a little nod to the Sims 3. We've got the My Sims trophies for My Sims. We got the Sims 1 heart bed and the Sims 1 plant. So it's kind of cute to have that stuff in here, but mostly it's just clutter. I mean, it's clutter everywhere everywhere. I put like some holiday decorations back here, stuff like that. But that is the whole basement. I'm kind of excited to try and do a bigger basement now on like a bigger house. We could put a real guest room in the basement. There could be a storage room. There could be like a games room in the basement, maybe a gym, stuff like that I kind of want to try and do. But for now, we got tiny storage room, living room, clutter mess. Mess is a good word. Approachable mess though, right? Oh, and last but certainly not least, we have a cow plant back here, so it might eat you. But I think on that note, I'm gonna end the video right here. That's the whole build. I hope that you enjoyed it. I did put it on the gallery if you wanted to download it. Thank you for watching, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow, okay? Bye, everybody. I cannot believe how obsessed I have become so quickly with the screened-in porches. I don't know what it is, but that screen window has changed my entire life.